Welcome back to Level Header Gamer, guys. My name is Joe. So today we got a little game called Medievalien that's being developed by 3 guys from Italy. But I don't want to talk too much. I want to get right into it. I want you to see this game and what it has to offer by giving you what works, what needs to be worked on, as well as my hopes for the game. I thought the intro music was freaking awesome. It was really epic, and it was really interesting right away. It kind of blew me away. I wasn't expecting it. And I do feel, as the music is good throughout, I wish they had fight music whenever you would have encounters, that the music would kind of elevate and be dynamic and be a little bit more adrenaline fueled, so to say. I also thought the art direction is very unique and interesting, having this almost blocky Lego feel to it, which I thought was very charming and very much fit the overall aesthetic of the game. And I thought mixing aliens with medieval times was really cool, and it kind of reflects in the weaponry and abilities, and in general it just has an interesting look to it overall that I haven't seen before, really. I also thought it has a very simple to understand UI and minimap, which I think is very important for a roguelike game, because you don't want to be confused what's going on screen. You want to be very quickly making decisions so that you don't get wiped out by some enemy. You're in and out, moving very quickly. As I imagine a lot of people just like me, when you play roguelikes, you play for a little bit in and out so that you can move on with your day. It's not like something like Assassin's Creed Valhalla that you have to commit a couple of hours to and really dig deep to get anything done in the game. I also thought the approach that mixing, it feels like a mixing of Dead Cells and Hades. And what I mean by that, well, first of all, it's not just a roguelike, it's a roguelite game, right? So there are certain progressions that carry over with your character even when you die. And it mixes exploration as well as giving you weapon choices and item choices throughout your runs. Which honestly, that's one thing I don't like about Hades. Hades is just fighting. Go room to room fighting, and that's all you do. You don't switch weapons during your run, nothing like that. You have like a certain commitments that you have to make for each run. I love that about Dead Cells. You can switch out your weapons. If something's not working, you go for something else. You get different abilities. All these things really made me feel like a Dead Cells, to me personally, was a better game than Hades, as well as the exploration part. There's some things to do other besides fighting. And I like that this game, first of all, took the overhead display, the hexagonal approach of Hades, but mixed exploration and the choices that you get to make with each run make it that much more fun, in my personal opinion. I also enjoyed that you can save your current progress and just keep going later on. Let's say you have to go and you're 10 levels in, you don't have to worry about resetting the whole thing. You can just leave, come back anytime that you want. Unlike some other games, you have to restart from the very beginning. I really enjoyed this little part. It's very considerate, I think, for any player, especially like me. I'm a personal trainer myself, guys, so I'm always in and out here and there. I usually don't have a lot of time to game, and it's really nice to have that option personally. However, what I think needs work is I think the game feels a little bit slow. It has slow firing weapons, it has slow movement of the character, the enemies move very slow, and I think what made Dead Cells or Hades so successful is that it has very fast, snappy combat, snappy movement. It kind of gives you, it just fuels adrenaline in those tough to fight situations, making you feel like a total badass when you make it out of them alive. Whereas here, everything feels in slow motion a little bit. And I know it's early access and, it's going to be improving, but I would like to kind of point out to the developers right away, I think this is one area that would completely change the feeling of the game and really give it that oomph that it needs. As well as the world of the game feels a little bit barren. And what I mean by that, for example, there's no ambiance. You don't hear your character running, you barely hear your character rolling, or when you're striking them with weapons, it's kind of very subtle. I think it needs to be exaggerated more. The sound effects are so important to your ear to kind of interpret what you're doing and what's happening around you. It kind of reflects into the world as well, and it kind of touches upon graphics and sound effects, is that the environments look a little bit barren, and I think they should be feeling more alive, whether it be animals running around, birds chirping, or moves, like trees moving, and at the same time maybe like people fighting monsters, or the city's on fire, like certain towns are on fire. Something happening in each level that's like, oh shit, what, I want to find out what's happening. What's going on here? This is really cool. whereas just being a map that you kind of go generically from one area to the next. And I think the animations, that kind of relates to what I've been talking about, animations need to be fine-tuned as well. For example, when the character runs, I don't feel like he's connected to the world. It almost feels like he's floating and skating on top. And I know, again, that's something that just needs to be tuned out, and I'm sure people have pointed this out before, but I thought I'll just give my 2 cents what I think that needs to kind of improve, and relates to actually enemies as well, where their animations for striking you feels very slow, and it's like they're moving again in slow motion. It feels like I could just jump out of the way. I would like it to feel a little bit more impactful, maybe through animation, through speed, through whatever it is, to feel that you're getting hit, or you're hitting them, or you just dodge by the skin of your teeth. I think it's really cool. For example, take Dead Cells. Whenever you roll underneath an enemy, you feel like, oh shit, I barely made it. I also found the abilities in the game when you're throwing a bomb or a poison bomb or whatever, the slow trap, the black hole. Whenever you use any of those, it's a little bit hard to understand, first of what direction you're throwing in, where you're aiming at, how far it's going to fly. You have no sense of understanding what it's going to hit. And I think in a roguelike game where you can die at any moment and restart the whole thing, I don't think aiming should be really the biggest focus. More of managing the swarm of enemies that surround you. I found that to be a little annoying. Even with like the crossbow in the beginning, I was having a little trouble understanding, oh, it's short range or what's going on. I would like more feedback to understand where am I aiming. For example, the bow and arrow is perfect. When you charge up, you see that little arrow, you understand where you're shooting the arrow to. And I think that overall needs to be reflected on all weapons. And I think some weapons either need to fire a little faster, or abilities need to recharge a little quicker to reinforce that faster gameplay that I was mentioning before. I think it would really be in the service of this game, to be honest. And I thought the minimap, as it was functional, presentation-wise, it has something to be desired. And I think the presentation overall needs to be kind of fine-tuned. I understand voice acting I don't think is really necessary for this game, me personally. It would kind of elevate the game, of course, if it picks up and people enjoy it. I think voice acting, of course, would be nice. But I don't think it's necessary. But the presentation of the world, the presentation, kind of everything around you, you want to give it, you want to feel like, oh my god, I just discovered this cool item. Oh, this is really cool. Like, just kind of give that feeling of discovery and exploration, just kind of that, again, extra oomph. It's very hard to describe this feeling. I just know what it should feel like, so to say. However, when it comes to my hopes for this game, and I do have a lot of hopes, I really think there's something special here. Just like Hades, in the beginning, it was a lot to be desired in the beginning and it needed to be worked on, but there was a lot of passionate fans that really helped make this game this award-winning title that we know now. And I think the same thing needs to happen with Medievalien and really make it something truly unique, because I think the idea there is really, really good. dOObs Games SRL, if you guys are watching, if any of the developers watching it, guys, you absolutely are on the right track. I think you hit something with a nail. Now you just got to hammer it in all the way with this, just giving it time. And like, you guys have the right approach, going to early access and asking the gamers what they want. I think you're absolutely doing the right approach. And it's just the best way to approach it overall. And I would love to see, I've seen in the trailers there's more environments and enemies, but I definitely would like to see a big amount of environments, a vast variations of enemies and bosses, and as well as variations in the levels themselves of what you can possibly see. And perhaps, I've never seen this in a roguelike or roguelite game myself. Please correct me, guys, if I'm wrong. I've never seen a co-op mode. And I think the story lends itself for a co-op mode. I think it'd be really freaking cool to have a roguelike co-op game. Not going crazy, maybe like 2 players or something. I think it'd be really, really fun. It's something to consider. But again, I think, guys, you are on the right track. I wish you the best with this game. I hope it really blows up to be something special. I hope to be doing other previews of this game and eventually reviewing it as well when you guys do the full release. And just to see how it shapes and how it changes over the months, years, or whatever it may be. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe down below. Let me know what you thought of this demo of this roguelike game. Do you enjoy roguelike games overall? And enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Peace out.